Hello, BookTube. I've got a whole bunch of bookish stuff to show you, book-related bookish stuff. I've got mail, periodicals. I also went to the Brattle Bookshop this morning, and I have a bunch of stuff to show you there. So I don't know what to call this, some sort of potpourri. I got, for instance, periodicals in the mail, including two of my favorites. I got the Vineyard Gazette, a broadsheet newspaper from Martha's Vineyard, where I am often the book's editor. No book review in this issue from me, but also, thrillingly, for the first time, I got Smoke Signals. This is Big Canoe News. This is a print newspaper in northern Georgia with the whole 9 yards. You get one issue a month, and it's all that you get are classified, the living section, the news section, arts and entertainment, all in full color, all beautifully designed. My issue almost didn't make it to me, but the reason why this is so neat is because this is the first physical issue in which I am the book's editor for Big Canoe News, and the job that was done. Let me show it to you here. The job that was done with my book section is just eye-watering, just incredible. Just big. This 2-page spread is my kingdom. These are my book reviews, my book review section. All new, all original content, no reprints, no local stuff. It's all new release books that are out in the month of April. I knew already what it looked like because the digital version is free online, but getting the print version, oh my, and seeing it like that is just amazing. The book's coverage is in the news section of Big Canoe News. And I strongly urge you, the thrill that I had in getting that on my doorstep can be yours as well. Simply go to the website, I'll leave it down below, and subscribe. You can read the digital version for free. There's no paywalls at Big Canoe. But for $30 a year, you can get this once a month. And granted, some of the local stuff for local Georgia news, North Georgia news, might not be of interest to you, but there is a full-scale newspaper aside from that, arts and entertainment, and yours truly's book section. How thrilling is that? And I knew that I had a subscription, but it hadn't arrived yet, so there's something extra about the print reality of it. So that was amazing. And with that was also a package. So let's see what this is. Before we move on to the Brattle, we'll see what we have here for books. It's 2 books in this envelope. What have we here? Huh. Okay, what are these? No, they're advanced reading copies of something. Let's see. Okay, this first one is Everyone Worth Knowing by Jeff Richards. This is a short story collection. What a lovely thing. Very nice. Childhood, parenthood, love, life, and toxic masculinity are explored by various narrators in this short story collection, which comes out on June the 1st. The men whom we come to know across 17 short stories struggle in relationships and mourn the loves of their past as they search for meaning. Interesting. And the author is the author of Open Country, a Civil War novel in stories, and the domestic noir novel Lady Killer. His fiction, essays, and cowboy poetry have appeared in over 27 publications. Good Lord. A fan of blues music, he lives in Tacoma Park, Maryland. Very scenic part of the country. With his wife and 2 dogs, and travels often to Colorado where his kids live. Fantastic. All right, well, this is going to be a $17 paperback on June the 1st. Contemporary short stories from a blues fan. Fantastic. All right, didn't know I was getting this, but I will put it on the fast track to read. And then this other one is also lovely. So who is the publisher here that we're dealing with? This is Apprentice House Press. And both of these books are lovely. Is this also June 1st? Format May 1st. This is May 1st, so this one's coming right up. This is by Dawn Newton, and it's The Remnants of Summer. Also a lovely thing. Iris is sinking. As the summer of 1974 begins, she must grapple with the events that have lain dormant since the previous summer when her brother Scott drowned in their neighborhood lake on her watch. While Iris flounders with the weight of her guilt and grief, she seeks redemption from her family and yearns, in particular, to repair a strained relationship with her sister Liz. But new developments threaten her efforts, forcing her to navigate the turbulence of the present summer while reckoning with the emotional trauma of the past. Set in a working-class neighborhood, this novel is a story of how collective grief and personal guilt threaten the individuals who make up a family. Surrounded by the gentle rhythms of a Michigan summer, the main character endeavors to rise up and become visible once again. How wonderful. That sounds great. Right, these sound like 2 winners that have come to me from Apprentice House Press. And Dawn Newton is the author of Winded, a memoir in 4 stages, which details her journey with stage 4 lung cancer. She was trained as a fiction writer and received scholarship to attend Michigan State University and Johns Hopkins University. And she lives with her husband, Tim, and their dog, Clover, in East Lansing, Michigan. Okay. Tacoma Park and East Lansing are both areas that I know quite well. Oh, okay, fantastic. That's great. So that is the mail. And now we'll do the Brattle. For those of you who are new to the channel, or obviously are some of you, the Brattle is a used bookstore in the heart of downtown Boston. They're fantastic. They're old. I have been going there for half a century and love it because the turnover at the Brattle is enormous. Brattle vans are out buying all the time. The customers are coming in selling all the time. So you never know what you're going to find there. And that is great. I love that. And I found a bunch of stuff today. That I found quite a few things that I can't show you because they're presents. They're going to be in the mail, hopefully tomorrow. But I found a bunch of other stuff too, including little whims and indulgences, second chances, all that sort of stuff that the Brattle is so great for because in addition to the turnover inside the store, there's a sale lot next door. $1, $3, and $5 books that aren't junk. They aren't waterlogged. They aren't lice-ridden or anything like that. They just don't fit inside the store. And that changes all the time, and it's not expensive. It's very cheap to shop out in the sale lot. That's where I do most of my shopping at the Brattle. So, for instance, these first 3 were whim-driven. I only get them because there's a format that I like. These little old Bantam paperbacks from a very certain time period, a very certain design, white spines, black lettering, fairly graceful covers. I like that design. I like that period. And every once in a while I see some. And I saw a bunch today and they're all Thomas Hardy. So I grabbed them all. They were so cheap that I grabbed them all because I wasn't sure I had any of them. Turns out the first one, Return to the Native. These are the ones I'm talking about. That's what they look like. Return to the Native, it turns out I do already have. And in a better copy than this. So that's just a double. But I found 2 other Thomas Hardy novels that I don't have. There's Far from the Madding Crowd and Jude the Obscure, his last book. And it's nice to have these. I'm not a Thomas Hardy super fan, but by the same token, that can sometimes lead to neglect. And in Thomas Hardy's case, it has. I haven't reread a Thomas Hardy novel in too long, impermissibly long. He is great. Even if he doesn't float my boat completely, he is still great, and that is acknowledged. I acknowledge that. And if that's true, I really am not justified in ignoring rereading his work after so long. So I'll take these as a hint along those lines that, Thomas Hardy is probably on my radar for 2021. Same thing with this next one. I've read everything in it many, many times, but I found it in a format that I really like, and it was dirt cheap. So I grabbed it. And also, it fits with a unacknowledged, an unplanned trend in my book world lately, which is boxes. Books in boxes. Box sets of one kind or another. Slipcase books or box sets. I love them. I absolutely love them. I not only because they look nice, I admit they look nice, but also because they hold their own form. Unlike other books that slope and slide and fall everywhere. A book in a box it's a platform, it's a weight, it's a counterweight, it's a bookend, it's everything. And I think the Brattle Fates must be aware of that because I'm seeing box books when I go there now. And I found one. It's Libra of America. It's this thing. It's Eudora Welty. Stories, essays, and memoirs. And this has a memoir sketch, but it also has One Writer's Beginnings, which is a great book. Just a great book that I only have in a mass market paperback. I love that mass market paperback. That's how I originally learned about or originally encountered the book. But it's not very durable. that mass market paperback won't stand many rereadings. And this will. Libra of America is sewn binding. They're acid-free pages, so they're always going to be white. They don't yellow. They've got the built-in bookmark and everything. And this is just an individual slipcase for the book. One of you told me that the explanation for this is that these individually slipcase volumes were offered to subscribers. That sounds right to me. I don't know one way or another, but one of you told me that they were offered to subscribers, and that's why you'll sometimes see them used, because subscribers would be on a sort of an automatic fulfillment schedule and get a book they don't want and just give it up. So I found quite a few, and I'll definitely take this. This is a ton of short stories, a bunch of her book-related writing that I think if I wanted it elsewhere, I think I have. What is it? One story. There's One Writer's Beginnings, but then there's a collection of her book-related nonfiction that I recently got, just a year ago, I think. And it's a trade paperback, and it doesn't hold up well. I noticed that the first time I went to revisit it. Whereas this thing will take any amount of punishment. And it was dirt cheap, so I grabbed it. Then all three of the rest of these, to finish out the Brattle Haul here, are second chances. They're all me just getting something again. This first one's a little rough. I'll save it. I will renew it. But I've only ever had this in a trade paperback, and it's too big a book for trade paperback. It really doesn't work well. I want a hardcover with a dust jacket, and I found it. This is Barbara Grizzuti Harrison's Italian Days. I cannot praise this book highly enough. This is travel writing of the first order. Brilliant, funny, worldly wise travel writing. She just goes up and down Italy. So the book starts in Venice, I believe, and or maybe Milan, and it goes everywhere. And it is just wonderful. In a way that's difficult to describe, because travel writing is so reductive a label. This is next level travel writing. It is absolutely wonderful. And I found it today with a hardcover with a dust jacket, so I will revamp it, make the dust jacket indestructible, put a bookmark in there, probably reread a bit, probably. I'll try to control myself. Maybe I'll just read the part on Florence. But I'm so happy to find it. I don't even have a copy of the book at the moment because I always have trade paperbacks and they always fall apart on me. Then this next one from 10 years ago, I loved it and got rid of it for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I sent it to somebody as a present. But I had the advanced copy and then I had the finished copy and I got rid of it. It made one of my Steve Reads lists for the year-end books. I think it might have been number one on that list, on that year's list of nonfiction. It's The Information by James Gleick, who a lot of you will know as the author of Chaos, a book called Chaos. And this is all about information, digital and otherwise. And it is brilliant. Just brilliant. One of those books that just doesn't take anything for granted and thinks really strongly and thrillingly on every page so that you're challenged on every page. I love books like that. I don't know why I would get rid of this, but I checked. This is not my copy. Somebody else got rid of it as well, but I'm never going to make that mistake again. I fell in love with this book when I got to I was loving it anyway. I was really enjoying how well it's done. But then I got to, at one point, Gleick writes that information is not knowledge, and knowledge is not wisdom. And I fell in love right there. Any author can do that. That line is engraved in my soul ever since. So very happy to have this. Very interested to reread it. I'll probably reread it this weekend. I'm very interested to reread it in light of how much more this is true. I read Thorpe's book, Living in Data, just recently, where he talks about our current world, where data is everywhere, where information is everywhere, good and bad information is everywhere. That was only just beginning when this book came out. It was possible. When I read this book originally and was thinking about reviewing it and was writing about it for my Steve Reads list, it was possible to disconnect from the flow of information. It's barely possible to do that anymore, unless I'm out for a walk in the woods with the bean. Because, of course, I might bring a camera. I might use my phone for a camera on those walks, but I under no circumstances check with the outside world. Under no circumstances do I use the phone for anything else, just a camera. But other than that, it's virtually impossible to unplug from information. And we have become more and more information as time goes on. And then there's this last one, another big book. This is also fairly recent, but this is also not mine. This was from 2016, and I had it, I read it, and liked it, and got rid of it. But this is by Frank Trentman, and it is Empire of Things. It's a history of the last 500 years, basically, and that charts the climb of human beings, the change in the world, and what the author calls the apotheosis of the consumer. How this has become a consumer world. The history parts are fantastic. The ramifications of the internet, all of that is fantastic. Every aspect of the mercantile, commercial, consumer-driven world is beautifully handled here. It's just fantastically, it's a lot like the information. It's just beautifully written. Especially that there's a long chapter specifically about free trade. That when I had an advance copy of this, I was reading it and I was really enjoying it. And then I got to the chapter on free trade and thought, this is incredible. I mean, the rest of the book is really good, but this chapter on free trade is amazing. I'm learning something literally in every sentence. And then when I got the finished copy and I was able to see the author's biography, I realized that he wrote a whole book on free trade. So it makes sense that chapter would stand out. But this is a keeper. This is one that I want to have. You'd never know it was a keeper, given the fact that I didn't, in fact, keep it. But I'm going to try to rectify it. I'm going to try not to get rid of any of these. So that was the Brattle. We have Empire of Things. Cannot recommend it strongly enough. Any of these three. Actually, a lot here. The Information by James Gleick. If you are nonfiction oriented, if you love to read this sort of thing and you somehow missed this, get it from the library and read the first chapter. You'll see. You'll be in love with it. And then Italian Days, actually by Barbara Casuti Harrison, is also, I cannot recommend strongly enough. I just don't know if it's in print anymore. No idea how available it is, but it is travel writing, the like of which seldom comes along. Then this wonderful Libra of America slipcase volume of Eudora Welty. That's fantastic. Stories and also nonfiction. And then we have a couple of new releases, one for May and one for June. So there's the Remnants of Summer and Everyone Worth Knowing. Two contemporary works. They're both very intriguing. I think I'll get to at least one of them tonight. And then finally a triptych of Thomas Hardy in these old Bantam mass markets that I love so much. And last but not least, Big Canoe News. The 2-page spread of book coverage in Big Canoe News. Very small newspaper, only once a month, full color, professionally, beautifully designed, but it's a very small newspaper. Might be one of the smallest newspapers in the country in terms of circulation, staff, whatnot. But the book section is all mine, and the book section is first rate. The book section can go toe-to-toe with the book section of any major newspaper, and newspapers dwarf Big Canoe News in terms of books coverage. They might have a lot more money, but the book section in Big Canoe is every bit as good as theirs. It's just smaller. That's all. And if you want that kind of coverage on your doorstep every month, feel free to subscribe. $30 a year will get you a big wad, 60 pages of full color at the beginning, the first week of every month. It's a sweet deal. So there you go. That is my book potpourri day or whatnot. That's everything I've got to show you. I'm going to try to pump a little life into a certain little miniature schnauzer. Now we're going to go for a little walk, see who's out and about that she can scream at, because that's what she loves to do. That's what she loves to do. We're walking along the sidewalk, she's bustling along, and then we see somebody just innocently unpacking the back of their car. Then she will go up to them and go, woo, until they stop, put on all the packages, bend over and fuss with her. Or you see somebody going to the tennis courts, or out for a walk on their own, or sitting on their step reading a book. No, you don't get to do any of that. No, you must drop it all and fuss with the bean. So we'll go and do that. That's always a delight. But I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.